good morning, Miramar, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Tamara G. Don't forget, you can check us out on all of our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at City of Miramar. And we all know it's right here in Miramar. And right here with me now, we have a very special guest. We have Yadavan, and we were laughing off mic because I know I'm gonna get it right. Yadavan Mahendraraj.
Nailed it. You got it perfectly. Crush it. Very proud of you, Tamara.
Thank you
so much for having me.
No, thank you. And of course, Yadavan is the head of US and Canada merchant operations at Uber. And Yadavan, truly, Uber has become a household name in such a short period of time. How did that metamorphosis happen?
Yeah, it's been a journey, and it's funny because I've actually been with Uber for a while now, and I started out on the rides business, as you can see here. Now I'm on Uber Eats, and I think really what it comes down to is figuring out what customers want and how to get it to them in a good way, right? You know, when we first started out, way back when, I can remember my first Uber ride when we first started, it was solving a need for a customer that wasn't met, and it was a easier way to get around and giving people mobility. And now it's about, hey, how can we not just get them, take them where they want, but get them what they want, right? It's go get. And they're two very simple concepts. Go, help users go where they want and get what they want. But it's been so powerful. And I think that's what it speaks to is, you know, we're filling a need that customers are very eager to have filled.
Well, listen, you know that you have become a nationwide international brand when you go from being the name of a company to actually being a verb now. y'all have moved up. Like, you know, we're gonna Uber on over here. So that is amazing that has happened. And in such a short period of time. Now, you said did you start out as a driver?
No, I started out in our rides organization, but
Okay.
working with the driver experience team.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked with drivers to figure out how do we get them the right types of products they need? How do we improve their experience? How can we make things work better for them on the platform? And I did that for a while. And then I switched over to the Uber Eats business in 2019 and have been focused since then on how do we create the best possible experience for our merchants that we can while they're on the platform.
Well, full disclosure here, I am an Uber customer. I actually used Uber all this past weekend. I went to Memphis, and literally everywhere that I went, I took an Uber. And it was so easy to do. The app was, you know, right on the money. And I think that's, like you said, you know, creating that, filling that need that people had of trying to get somewhere or trying to get something, whatever it is, whether we got to get somewhere, we got to get something brought to us. And even at the radio station, we use Uber Eats a lot in the morning when we want to order breakfast in or, you know, coffee in from someplace. So you guys have definitely, you know, cornered a market on fulfilling a need that people have.
Well, I appreciate that so much. And thanks for being a customer. And I'm glad you're having some great experiences with us.
Absolutely. Very easy. I mean, so much so to where, you know, after the ride was done, you can rate the ride, you can leave the tip for the person. I mean, it just was very simple, in and out, and just amazing. But now what Uber is doing is trying to help some small businesses. And obviously during this time, what's been happening for the last 2 years, there are a lot of them that need help, particularly here in the South Florida area. Tell us about these applications for $10,000 small business grants in Miami.
Yeah, absolutely. Really excited to share this. And you said it exactly right. You know, this has been a challenging time for everyone, but particularly for restaurants and particularly for those independent restaurants. And that's why we're excited to mention, as you said, we're launching this Grants for Growth program together with our partners at Visa, which is across the US, $1 million in grants to 100 recipients. And we're focused on 10 cities, one of which, as you mentioned, is Miami. And that's because of the vibrant local food scene and the number of independent restaurants we've got here. I think we've got about 12,000 in Miami. And, you know, we know that these merchants, when we talk to them, because we're talking to them every day, we've invested a lot in being close to our merchants and having our teams live where they work and support the communities they work in. When we talk to merchants, we hear, especially for those smaller merchants, one of the biggest challenges they're facing as they enter 2022 is the rising cost of goods,
Mhm.
the figuring out the staffing shortages, and also investing in their technology because they haven't had a lot left over from the last 2 years to be able to invest in the future. And so when we talk to them, we realize that there's still a lot that we're digging out of from the last 2 years. And that's why we think this program is so important. And like you mentioned, there'll be 100 grants of $10,000 each to small independent restaurants across the country. And we're focusing on 10 cities. And like I said, one of those is Miami.
Okay. And so Yadavin, when you say a small business,
Mhm. Yeah.
particularly these small restaurants, mom and pops, what exactly does constitute small business? Is that, someone who has
Yeah.
50 employees or someone who has 500 employees?
Yeah, nailed it on the number. So for the
Oh,
purposes of
wow.
this particular program, the requirements, and again, if you want to check these requirements, folks can check out lisc.org/Uber. That's lisc.org/Uber. But at a high level, what we look for is food or restaurant entrepreneurs who are not affiliated with the national brand and have less than 5 locations, and that each of those 5 locations have less than 50 employees and less than $3 million in sales. So those are the requirements for qualifying for a small business grant or an independent grant under this program. And then one other thing that we are taking into consideration with our partners at LISC who are doing kind of the grant process is we want to be thoughtful of equity as a part of this. When you look at how the pandemic has affected folks, a lot of people have been challenged by this. But when you look at the studies, they show that businesses owned by minorities, people of color, and different groups have been even more affected. And so one of the things that will be taken into consideration is if one of the owners of the business is a member of, is a veteran, is a minority, is a woman, or a member of the LGBTQIA plus community. So that'll actually be part of the grant process to make sure that we can use a lens of equity to help invest in the parts of our community where the help is most needed, because that's what this really is about. What an important part of our local communities and our local economies these independent restaurants are. And that's why we focus the program the way we have.
Awesome. So if you're just tuning in, first of all, thank you for watching Good Morning Miramar. We're speaking with Yadavan Mahendraraj. I hope I got that right, but Yadav, we've been laughing about that all morning. Yadavan is the head of US and Canada merchant operations at Uber. We're talking about this wonderful grant program that is going on here in South Florida. Now, here's the thing. We say Miami, but is this open to just Miami or is it South Florida? Because obviously we hit Fort Lauderdale, we hit the Palm Beaches, and we kind of call it South Florida, but I see you have the specific city of Miami. So is it just for Miami residents?
Yeah, so you can check out the details on the site, but I do believe we're focused, especially because of the way the grants have been set up, we're focused on 10 cities. And for the purpose of the program, we are focused on Miami. That's not to say that we don't support restaurants across, we have our platform all across Florida, but this specific program is focused, yes, on independent restaurants in Miami and 9 other cities across the country for the moment.
Right. Well, so, we're in Miramar, we're right across the county line, but we do have people who watch all over South Florida. And we do have people who have relatives who have small restaurants and businesses dealing with food in Miami. So if you do have someone that you would love to recommend for this grant, you definitely need to do so at lisc.org/Uber. lisc.org/Uber. And when is this kicking off, Yadavan? And when do people need to get those applications in? Because I know this money just isn't going to sit there forever, right?
Absolutely. Well, you read my mind. So January 17th is when these applications will be open. You can go to the website at any time. It'll have the information, but January 17th is when they open, and they'll be open for a week through January 24th. Look, we talk to restaurant partners all the time, and so I know that's just a week, but we're trying to make this process as simple as possible. We're not trying to make some convoluted, heavy grant process because folks are just trying to run their business. So we don't want to make this hard. We're just going to ask you about all the information to make sure that you qualify, and then ask, first of all, how has the pandemic affected you? And what are you going to use the money for? And that's all we'll use. And the LISC organization will use in deciding who to grant. So it's a 1-week process, January 17th to the 24th. So you can apply anytime in there. Don't wait till the end, get those in. But we're trying to keep it a nice light process because we know that that our restaurant partners have a million things to do, and we don't want to make this a huge lift for them.
Right. And I always say, Yadavan, that you got to be in it to win it. So if
That's
you
right.
do not, apply for the grant, then you for sure will not get the grant. So if you are watching this, or again, if you have family, relatives, friends who have restaurants in Miami, Miami only, then please let them know about this and just apply for it, because you never know, you might be the one to get the $10,000. Got to be in it to win it. That's what I always
Exactly
say.
right. That's exactly right.
Right. And so with this $10,000, what again can people use it for? I know probably meeting payroll is definitely one of the things, Yadavan, but what else can they use it for? Because I think that a lot of people also don't ever want to fill out grants because they're like, oh, I got to follow this strict, rule of what we need to use it for, or I can only use it for this. But what can they use this $10,000 for?
Yeah, absolutely. So the full details of, how to use it and what the conditions are is on that website. But just to give you an idea, we did want to be flexible because we know that different folks have different needs and different challenges. And so it can be used, like you mentioned, for payroll, for paying off supplier debts, for investing in new payments technology, for figuring out how to invest in your any operational expense you have. So we just know it's been a tough time, and we want to make it pretty broad. And if you go to the website, you'll see the full list of all the different things it can be used on. But really, any operational expense, whether it's a debt or forward-looking investment, is fair game here. We want to keep it pretty broad and flexible to give folks the ability to say, hey, this is what my business needs, and focus on that, and they can describe that to us in the grant. And much of it's fair game. The full list you can find on the website, but we're really trying to keep it pretty broad, to keeping with the fact that all these restaurants have different challenges and may need help in different places.
And it may be as simple as keeping the lights on in the
It may
place.
be, yeah.
Yeah,
It may be.
paying the rent in the building where you are, because I know that a lot of businesses did go out of business during the very start of the pandemic. And some of them are still trying to come back from where they were, because it's just been really, really hard. This doesn't seem to be letting up at any time, and people are scared to go out to eat. And, but that's why they use Uber Eats, so that they can be delivered, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And yes, rent, utilities, all of that stuff is absolutely something you can use it for. And yeah, hopefully not only can we help them by giving these grants, but actually one of the other things I should have mentioned, we have other resources that come with it, in terms of some marketing credits for priority placement on Uber Eats during this time, as we're still figuring out the this return to normality, and as well as different resources and guides from Lisk and from Uber about how to navigate these times. So it's not just about the money, it's also about support. But even beyond the money is just, we really want to help businesses get through this period by giving them another way to get to their customers, right? And helping them focus on what they excel at, making amazing food, and us taking care of the part of getting it to their customer for them, to help them through this time as we figure out our way out to the other side.
All right. So again, if you have a restaurant in Miami, then please go to lisc.org/Uber to find out more information and how you can apply for this $10,000 grant. You only have a week to do it, January 17th through the 24th. And then that's it. That's the cutoff date, the 24th. As Yadavan said, do not wait until the last minute. Be in it to win it. Go on there now and fill this out, so that you can definitely get this grant, possibly to help you with whatever you may need help with. And something else too, that I know a lot of small restaurants don't even think that they would qualify to be on an Uber Eats, or that they don't, they're not making enough money, or their business isn't big enough. But that's not true. You guys have all types of businesses, particularly when it comes to restaurants, on Uber Eats, correct?
That is absolutely right. Any restaurant that's serving the public is one that can be with us. And actually, we even see them try different concepts. We see everything. If you make good food that people love, Uber Eats can be for you.
All right, sounds good. Again, for this $10,000 grant, if you have a restaurant in Miami, if you know someone who has a restaurant in Miami that's a small mom and pop, so let's go back to that. No chains, no franchisees.
Right. No chains, and has to be less than 5 stores, and each of those stores has to have fewer than 50 employees and less than $3 million in revenue per store to make sure we're focused on those mom and pops. And the other thing I mentioned is obviously having been a partner of Uber Eats as of January 1st.
All right, sounds good. Again, that website is www.lis as in Sam, C as in cat, .org/Uber for more information. Yadavan Mahendraraj, thank you very much. We certainly appreciate it. And you being on today. He is the head of US and Canada merchant operations at Uber and talking to us about this $10,000 grant that Uber is giving away right here in Miami. If you have a restaurant, a small mom and pop restaurant in Miami, January 17th through 24th is the time that you need to register for this grant. And again, it's lisc.org/Uber. Don't wait until the last minute. Thank you so very much, Yadavan. We certainly appreciate you being here with us today on Good Morning Miramar and hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much. Yes, likewise. And it was a pleasure spending this time with you.
And thank you for watching as well.